Imagine a seemingly ordinary day, December 5, 1945, in sunny Fort Lauderdale, Florida. 5 powerful Navy bombers, the PBM Avengers, take off for a routine training flight. On board are 14 young aviators. No one could have known this would be the last time they would ever see dry land. In one of the most puzzling stories in aviation history, this squadron, known as Flight 19, simply vanished. And what's even stranger, the rescue plane sent to find them also disappeared without a trace. What really happened that day? And how did this single event plant the seed for the world's most famous maritime mystery? The mission was called Navigation Problem Number 1. It was a standard triangular flight path. Fly east from Florida, practice bombing on a shoal, turn north over the Bahamas, and then head back to base. The weather was good. Everything seemed perfectly normal. But around 3:40 in the afternoon, something went terribly wrong. Lieutenant Charles Taylor, the squadron leader and an experienced combat veteran, sent a chilling radio message back to the control tower. He said, "I don't know where we are. Both of my compasses are out." Taylor was completely disoriented. He mistakenly believed he was flying over the Florida Keys, hundreds of miles south of his actual position. He was actually over the Bahamas, but he thought the islands were the Florida mainland. The control tower desperately tried to guide him back. Another pilot in the area, Lieutenant Robert Cox, even tried to help, but Taylor was convinced he was right and they were wrong. He insisted on flying in the wrong direction and refused to switch to the emergency radio channel, fearing his student pilots would get separated. As the afternoon wore on, the weather turned ugly, and the radio transmissions became more and more desperate. Taylor's last words, overheard by the base, painted a grim picture. "All planes close up tight. We'll have to ditch unless landfall. When the first plane drops below 10 gallons, we all go down together." Their fuel was running out. The 5 Avengers were hopelessly lost, flying over rough, dark seas. After 7 p.m., there was only silence. The 14 men on board had vanished into the vast ocean, but the tragedy didn't end there. At 7:27 p.m., a massive rescue seaplane, a Martin PBM Mariner, took off with a crew of 13 to search for Flight 19. Just 3 minutes after takeoff, they sent a routine message. They were never heard from again. Hours later, around 9:15 p.m., a nearby oil tanker, the SS Gaines Mills, reported seeing a huge explosion in the sky. They described flames shooting 100 feet high before quickly disappearing into the darkness. The Mariner, a plane nicknamed the Flying Gas Tank because it carried tons of fuel and had known issues with its fuel lines, had likely exploded in midair. The Navy launched the largest peacetime search and rescue operation in its history. They covered over 200,000 square miles of the Atlantic Ocean and the Gulf of Mexico. Ships and planes scoured the area for days. The result? Absolutely nothing. No wreckage, no life rafts. Not a single sign of the 5 Avengers or the Mariner rescue plane. 27 men, gone without a trace. The Navy's initial report blamed Lieutenant Taylor for mental aberration, but his mother fought back. The official cause was eventually changed to cause unknown. With no physical evidence, the mystery exploded. The area where the planes disappeared, the triangle between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, quickly became known as the infamous Bermuda Triangle. Theories about strange magnetic fields, alien abductions, and paranormal forces began to spread like wildfire. The story of Flight 19 was immortalized in books and movies. Like Steven Spielberg's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, nearly 80 years have passed. Divers and explorers have found other crashed Avenger planes over the years, but none have been definitively identified as belonging to Flight 19. The most logical explanation is that the 5 Avengers simply ran out of fuel after their leader has critical navigation errors and crashed into the violent sea. The Mariner rescue plane almost certainly exploded, but as long as no confirmed piece of wreckage is ever found, the story of Flight 19 will remain the crown jewel of unexplained mysteries, a haunting reminder of the 27 men the ocean swallowed whole. So, what do you think? Was it just a tragic series of navigational failures and mechanical accidents, or is there something more to the legend of the Bermuda Triangle? Let me know your theory in the comments below, and don't forget to follow for more incredible stories.